and welcome to What Pet Should I Get? My name is Julia Batchelor. Today on the program, which is our last program of the season, we are going to be traveling to the Ontario SPCA to talk to Inspector Scott Sylvia about the dangers of leaving your pet in a hot car. We will also be meeting some of the animals that are available for adoption from there. As well, Claire Forndren will be here from Dogtails Rescue and Sanctuary. And up first, we have Carly Feldman here from Forgotten Ones Cat Rescue and Adoption. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So we have three gorgeous little kittens here because we are in the midst of kitten season. But before we talk about them, I want to learn a little bit about Forgotten Ones. Now, when did this organization form?
So Forgotten Ones started about 16 years ago in 2000 by a lady named Debbie. She's still helping us today. It formed because she saw a bunch of feral kittens running around. At this point, she didn't even know what the word feral meant.
Yeah.
She went home and did her research and realized it's the dead of winter. These kittens are going to end up dying.
Yeah.
So she went out, she trapped them, and 16 years later, we have saved thousands of cats and found permanent loving homes.
That's amazing because your organization does not have a centralized center like the Ontario SPCA does. You rely on just a network of fostering, correct?
Absolutely. So we are completely a non-for-profit charity. We have absolutely no government subsidies or anything like that. We are a volunteer-based rescue. So we rely solely and completely on our foster homes. So the more foster homes we have, the more cats and we can take from high kill shelters that are going to be euthanized as well as off the streets. Especially right now that it's kitten season, we are in dire need for fosters.
Yeah, well, you had mentioned too, well, before the show started, let's just gonna hold up this picture for a second. So I know it's kind of hard to see, but if you go to the website, the link will be on our website. You have three kittens here, or cats, that have their special needs. They have feline leukemia, and you said they're in dire need of fostering.
Absolutely, yes.
So what are you looking for a family that would foster these cats because they have feline leukemia?
Because they do have feline leukemia, and it is a long-term virus. We don't want any other cats in the household just to prevent any sort of transmission to their cats. Unfortunately, there is no cure for this virus, and it will eventually become fatal to them. It compromises their immune system, which then they're more susceptible to other illnesses and diseases.
So how many fosters do you have working or volunteering with you right now?
Lots.
Lots? And you guys are mostly based out of Richmond Hill, but
absolutely.
You serve the whole GTA.
Yeah, so we are based out of Richmond Hill. However, we serve all of York Region, as well as many other cities and towns that request our help.
Now, I know because you're a nonprofit, you need funds. Funds are always important because I know all of your cats that come in, they need to be vetted, they get fixed before they actually go up for adoption. So how can people help you? What are you looking for?
So most important right now is money. Yeah. Money, money, money. We have so many vet bills. I mean, we just had a cat now that was found underneath a wood pile that needed extensive x-rays, etc., so on. So our vet bills just really pile up. The little girl you're holding right now, she needed an ultrasound at a specialist, cost quite a bit of money as well. We have cats that come in that need their eye taken out or their leg amputated, whatever it may be, but our medical bills never end.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about this cat, because she's sleeping right now, but I have to wake her up because I want you to see her face. This is Pipsqueak, and Pipsqueak is tiny, but she's actually 10 weeks old, right?
Yes.
So talk to us about Pipsqueak and tell us her story.
Little Pipsqueak, her mom was found under an abandoned house with approximately 15 to 20 other cats. We're not sure the story behind that. However, us and another rescue, we went in and helped trap these cats. Pipsqueak was then born in one of our foster homes, where for some reason the mom continuously kept rejecting her. Yeah. She would move the whole litter and leave little Pipsqueak behind. Eventually, she had the will to live. She would cry and cry and cry until her mom would come get her. Yep. And unfortunately, a couple weeks ago, she lost about 100 grams overnight. And for a kitten that weighs about 350 grams, that's a whole lot of weight. So we rushed her to the vet, and we did blood work. We did everything we can. Unfortunately, at this point, the vet just said she needs supportive care. So I took her, where then I was up with her for a couple weeks every 2 hours during the night, feeding her and force feeding her when she didn't eat. Yep. And all of a sudden one day, she decided, I have the will to live, I want to play, I want to eat. and now she's doing amazing.
I wonder if you guys, can you hear her purring on my mic? I'm not sure, but she's a very happy little kitty. Don't run away though, we all want to see your face. So she's one of the cats that you want to find a foster home right now, right?
Currently she's with me, and she's going to stay with me a little bit longer, just because I do have the medical experience behind caring for sick and injured cats.
Yeah, and when she's nice and healthy and big enough to get fixed, then she's up for adoption. And I mean, look at this face, people. This kitty, she's had a rough start in life, but she deserves an amazing forever home. Before we run out of time, I want to talk about the two little guys that are on your lap. So let's start with Bear. Or you want to talk about Bear first? So
Sure.
He's the little stripy tabby.
This is Bear. He came to us. His mother was found outside. She was pregnant, of course. She had 5 kittens. We had a brown tabby, we had a black one, we had a calico, a white and orange one, and an orange medium hair kitten. He's healthy, happy, and he's available for adoption shortly.
Yeah, he just needs to get fixed too, right?
Absolutely.
And now our last little guy there, he is, what's his name again?
His name is Sam I Am.
Sam I Am.
A great musical donated some of their proceeds to us, and it was a Dr. Seuss musical, so they were all named after Dr. Seuss.
Oh, this show's called What Pet Should I Get? We love Dr. Seuss.
So this is little Sam. He's an absolute sweetheart.
Now, Sammy, you want also to go with a buddy.
Yes, so Sam, we would like him to get adopted with this little girl.
What's her name?
Her name is Atlantis.
Atlantis. Okay, so again, if we visit the website, Forgotten Ones website, she will be on there so you can find them.
Absolutely. Yes.
And it's always great for kittens to be adopted in pairs anyways, even if, I mean, obviously Sam and Atlantis together, but if you get Pipsqueak, you know, these people have a lot of animals that need adoption, so maybe you want to get a little buddy for Pipsqueak as well.
Absolutely. We would like her to go with her brother. Her and her brother are absolutely inseparable.
And her brother's name?
Her brother's name is Teddy.
Teddy. Okay, just before we run out of time, you have an adoption event coming up in July. Can you just tell us exactly where people can go to find your cats?
In July, we're in PetSmart North, which is that's on Elgin Mills, every other month, and we house our kittens there. As well as now we have a new partnership with the store called True Pet.
Okay.
They're just Yonge and Major Mackenzie, North Major Mackenzie, and we have built an amazing cage-free enclosure there.
Okay, perfect. So much. Thank you so much for being on the show. If you're interested in adopting any of the kittens that you've seen from Forgotten Ones, visit our website for all the details. Now, here is Callie Milliman from the Ontario SPCA with this week's pet tip. Say bye-bye.
Summertime is the season for traveling and vacations, and during this time, you may need to have your pet boarded or go to a babysitter. Here are a couple of things you can do to help make your pets stay a little more comfortable. Sending your pet with their favorite stuffed toy, blanket, or item that is most familiar to them will make them feel a little more at ease and a little more at home. Some of these new environments can be stressful, so having their familiar scent of home or of themselves on one of their favorite items just helps them be a little more comfortable. I'm Callie Milliman with the Ontario SPCA, and that is this week's Pet Tip.
Hello, welcome back. Joining me now is Claire Forendren and Nikki Morelli from Dog Tales Rescue and Sanctuary. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Now, before we talk about the dog that we have here with us, Faya, I wanted to quickly ask you about Donna. If we can remind the viewers, Donna, that was on last week.
Yes.
It's totally beautiful. She was a American Bulldog mix.
Yes.
So what's going on with her?
So Donna is still waiting for a perfect home. So if
Look
you
how
saw
pretty
her,
she is.
She is the sweetest girl. So if you saw her last week and you were thinking about it, please this Sunday come and visit us. Donna would love to meet you.
And now, Donna, was she a rescue or surrender?
She was a rescue. She's one of our Israeli dogs.
Okay, so if you speak Hebrew,
Yeah.
you know, you can converse with Donna because she's multilingual now.
Yes, yes.
But speaking of surrenders, so you guys are obviously you travel and you rescue dogs, but another thing that you do is people can surrender their dogs to you, which I imagine there's a multitude of reasons why people do that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that, though. Let's talk about the surrender process and the reality of what happens after a dog is surrendered.
Absolutely. So there's a bit of a misconception about surrendering a dog to our rescue. I mean, people see we have this beautiful property and we're adopting out all kinds of dogs every week, and they think, okay, well, I don't want my dog anymore. I can just bring it to Dog Tales.
And it's going to end up in doggy heaven, basically.
Yeah, everything will be fine and dandy. It'll have a home in a week, and I don't need to worry about it. But that's not the case. I mean, some of our dogs do get adopted very quickly, but there are others for a multitude of reasons or no reason at all
Yep.
that end up staying with us for a very long
Well,
time.
let's bring up, you brought us some photographs of some of the dogs,
did.
and I know that on the photos, there is a number that indicates how many days a dog's been in rescue.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, like you said, sometimes it's a long time, and it who knows what the 192 days for this particular dog.
Yeah.
And I mean, as we said, Dogtails is a beautiful facility, but it's meant to be, it's like it's a halfway house for dogs. It's a stopping point. You guys get the dogs, you get them into great health and get them ready to find a forever home. And that's the whole point, right?
Absolutely. And people just, I mean, I really can't stress it enough that a dog is a lifelong commitment. And what we're seeing lately, one of the biggest reasons that dogs are surrendered is because of old age. People have an old dog, they see dollar signs, they don't want to pay the medical bills, maybe the dog isn't as fun anymore for their kids to play with, and they just want to drop it off. But those are the dogs that need their family more than ever.
They do.
And so, I mean, we always say that if you can find a friend or a family member that would be a good home that can take your dog, instead of putting a dog into a shelter, which regardless of how nice the shelter is, it's still a very stressful experience, that's always better.
Well, we know too, I mean, at your shelter, you have on average about 100 dogs there.
Yeah.
And they have to, just for sheer logistics. I mean, I think that their facilities is the best that you can make it. But yeah, a dog wants a
person.
family. Yeah, they like stability, just like children, right? They
Yeah.
want to be stable and always wake up to the same faces and just have their own space.
Exactly. And dogs, I mean, they're not dumb. They feel that rejection.
Yes.
When a family leaves them. We have a dog named Marley who was surrendered to us, and the first night that he was in the kennel, he cried the entire night, and it was like nothing you've ever heard before.
He was like, what
So-
did I do wrong?
Exactly.
Right? I've been part of this family for his entire life, and now, and honestly, you hear the stories, and I know with other rescue organizations too, they say, well, one of the excuses you hear a lot when people surrender is they all of a sudden developed an allergy to the dog, right? So you got to really consider that, and I know that our viewers out there are not those people, because they're the type of people who would adopt a senior dog.
Exactly.
And speaking of dogs that have been surrendered, because we want to get to Faya. Now,
Yes.
Faya, tell me her story. Nikki, you've been working with Faya closely,
Yes,
so tell us about her.
So Faya was surrendered to us. She came from a bunch of foster-based rescues. She actually made it through about three before she
foster
got
homes in a
to
week.
us. So she has a lot of trust issues. So
She's been bounced around, so I can understand that.
Exactly, it's very understandable, but a lot of people now don't really have the patience to come and sit with her and kind of build a relationship, which is what she needs before she'd ever be able to go home comfortably. But you know, with all the staff at Dogtails, she sees them all the time. She's comfortable with them. We all treat her nothing but the best, and you know, she's great for us. We can do anything with her, and she's happy. But we need that one special family that will put the time in for her in order to get her comfortable.
Well, I know that's part of your whole process when you want an animal to find a forever home. It's not just like somebody comes, I like that one, let's go.
Yeah.
There's a process to it, and that is the whole reason for it, right?
Yeah.
And you know, I always say, like, no animal, you would never put up an animal for adoption that you didn't think could make a good member of a family.
For sure.
So, and it's something kind of special about when you find an animal that's a little bit more of a work, and then that bond forms. Like, I imagine if you probably feel something pretty special about this dog liking you.
I do. I definitely do, yeah.
Well, also, something really special about Faya, now, she's a very highly trained dog, and she can do some tricks.
She is one of our most highly trained, I would think, yeah.
Can you show us what she can do before we run out of time?
Of course I can. So Faya can actually jump through a hoop.
All right, if you want me to hold on to her leash
I
for
would
it.
love for you to do that
All
for
right.
me. Okay, Faya.
We're running out of time, so I'm going to have her, we're going to throw to the vet tip. If we run out of time, we're going to be going to the vet tip. But Faya, come here, girl.
Come here. Good, ready, jump.
Perfect.
Faya, come. No. Faya, come.
Okay, you get the idea that this girl can jump through hoops. She will literally.
We swear. She can do it. Faya, come.
Nikki, can you have a seat for me?
Of course.
So literally, she can jump through hoops for you. Thank you so much, Claire, for being on. We'll see you guys. We'll see you in the fall. Here's Dr. MJ Winters with this week's Pet Tip.
It's summertime and time to keep your pet cool. Heat stress and exhaustion is something we see every year in the clinic. Exercising overweight or unfit pets in hot weather, exposing very young or very old pets to the elements, pets with underlying heart or lung disease, and often pets that have a flat nose, such as the boxer or the Himalayan cat. They're some of the prime candidates and reasons why we see heat stress and exhaustion. The signs of heat stress and exhaustion are many. What you should look out for are the following: an increase in breathing, possibly an increase in pulse. You may notice your pet become suddenly lethargic and dull on a very hot day. Your pet's gums may change colour. You may notice they become quite blue, and that's a sign for reduced oxygen in the blood. Your pet may in fact collapse or appear to be having a seizure-like episode. At this point, I'd advise you to check to see your pet is still conscious. Try and use ice, cold water, damp towels on your pet, especially remembering to use them on the pads to try and cool your pet down. If you have a fan, cold air being blown across your pet may help. Taking into account these are all just temporary measures before you move your pet to your local veterinary clinic for help. Heat stress can cause organ failure and may well be fatal. So please remember to try and avoid this at all costs with your pet. And I'm Dr. Michael John Winters, the 404 Emergency and Referral, and that's this week's Vet Tip.
Welcome back, guys. We are here now at the Ontario SPCA, and I'm with investigator Scott Sylvia. And over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about the No Hot Pets campaign that's been run by the Ontario SPCA about the dangers of leaving your animal in a car in the hot weather. And today we're going to be doing a demonstration. So, Scott, right now the car is approximately 20 degrees indoors, which is, I assume, ideal.
Well, we set this up in such a way that we've had the air conditioning running.
Yep.
And this is usually the common situation that we'll find. Most people will go to a location such as a store or a supermarket, whatever the case may be. And on hot days, their air conditioning is going to be running. They'll shut it down, and the comfortable temperature in there is between 15 and 20 degrees. So we've tried to start the situation out exactly there. Now, the idea is to show just how quickly the temperature will change within a very, very short period of time.
One of the things that we were talking about off camera is you were saying that you want to make sure that if you're going to do something as dramatic as try and rescue an animal that you see in distress, you want to make sure that animal is in distress. So, for example, somebody could have just turned their car off, run into the store, the conditions are ideal inside. So what do you want to look for if you're approaching a situation like this?
We want to make sure that the public is not only aware of what's happening with the animal, but they're also aware of their own safety as well.
Yeah.
Taking an animal out of a vehicle can be a very dangerous situation, not only for themselves, but for the animal as well, if they're not aware of what they're doing, if they're not observing what's happening.
Yeah.
To look to see if an animal is in distress or suffering from signs of heat exhaustion, you want to be looking for the behavior of the animal. Does it appear lethargic or lazy? Does it want to lay down? Is it aware of what's going on around them? Is there frothing, heavy panting, these types of things? Because this is going to show that the animal has been expelling as much moisture as it can, and the only way they can expel moisture is through their panting or through the pads of their feet. We use dogs as an example because that's the most common animal we usually find in a vehicle. So this is some of the things that they want to be looking for. Another thing they want to be doing is taking into consideration the vehicle itself. The make, the model, the license plate number, have that information available, and what they should be doing first is calling the authorities to make sure that they get the support for the animal that can be dealt with.
Yep.
Okay? So calling 911 or calling the Ontario SPCA at 310-7722 or 310-SPCA is the best way to start. Again, watching the situation and making sure that you know what's happening at that moment is going to be key. We're not advocating that somebody break the window of a vehicle because everyone is responsible for any force that they use. Even police and even the Ontario SPCA, we can be held responsible for any damage that we do. The difference is that we have the tools, we have the resources, and we have the personnel to be able to move that animal out of there safely.
How long approximately does it take for on a hot day, which we've had many hot days already and we'll have many more throughout the summer. How long is it going to take for a car to go from a comfortable situation for an animal to a dangerous situation?
It can take minutes. It takes a very, very short period of time. And again, when the weather is hotter outside, that's going to compound the situation and make it much worse.
Okay, so 10 minutes have passed now, and the temperature in the car has gone up from 20 to 30 degrees. And it's an overcast day. This isn't even the most extreme conditions.
No, it's not. And this is one of the common arguments that we hear from a lot of people is that, well, you know, I left him in the shade, or I parked under a tree, or I left the windows open. There's a number of different things that people will do to try to minimize the situation. What they need to understand is that when you're placing that animal in a vehicle and you're walking away, you're removing the one factor that can keep that animal from being in a vulnerable situation, and that's you. You make a conscious decision to leave your animal there for whatever the reason is. You figure it's going to be okay, I'm only going to be a few minutes. Time is relative. For you, it's just a couple of minutes in the store. For the animal, it can be eternity.
And what is the temperature then where it is becoming dangerous for an animal?
The average temperature for a dog, and we'll use dogs as an example because that's the most common one we'll find in a vehicle. Average temperature for a dog is about 39 degrees. That's their body temperature. Once their body temperature goes above 41 degrees, now you're starting to see the physiological changes in the dog. And this is where we have the beginning of irreparable brain damage. Brain cells start to die because their body temperature is so high. So we're going to see the changes in the animal, which is going to, you know, indicate heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
People often will crack the windows around their car thinking they'll let a little bit of a breeze in, and that'll be enough to make sure that the temperature stays cool enough. Does that work?
No, it doesn't. We've done numerous tests on this. Veterinarians have done tests on this. We even had it and a couple of years ago where we set up three vehicles in 3 different positions. Windows completely up, windows partially down, and windows completely open, and a sunroof completely open. The temperature in the vehicle still went up. It still went up in a short period of time, and it still created a very, very dangerous situation for the animal because they don't just take into consideration that it's just a crossbreed that they need. They need to take into consideration that this animal is going to be subject to heat from not only just one source, but from many sources. The sun, the ambient temperature coming off the vehicle, the heat coming off the seats, and even their own body temperature is going to compound this situation.
All right, well, thank you so much for doing this demonstration. And as always, if you see an animal in distress, please make sure you call the authorities first or call 310-SPCA to report it right away. In the best case scenario, if you have pets, make sure you leave them at home. So, of course, we can't come to the Ontario SPCA without profiling some of the wonderful animals that are looking for forever homes. And Callie has
Audrey. This is Audrey. She is a 14-year-old cat, so she's a little bit of an older girl. She is what we call a sidekick, so she's a really great companion. She came into our care about a month ago. Unfortunately, her family had a little bit of allergies, so they were unable to keep her.
Yeah.
But you can see she's totally sweet, and as I mentioned, even though she's a little bit older, she's still got a lot of love to give.
She's a beautiful cat, and she looks like she's in great health. And as we've said before, an indoor cat that is well taken care of, 14 years old, she could live to 20 plus years. So you still have a lot of time with this cat.
Absolutely, and she's totally sweet. She does need to go to a home with just a single, just herself, a single cat home. Being maybe a little bit older, she's
set in her ways.
She's set in her ways, and she prefers to just be on her own. But yeah, she's looking for a home, and we're hoping folks will come by the Provincial Education and Animal Centre and adopt her.
Perfect. So come by and meet Audrey. Okay, so our next pet is Bovis, who is a totally gorgeous little cat. Tell me about Bovis.
Bovis is a 2-year-old male, all gray, as you can see. Talk about a gorgeous cat, as you said. And he could not be more friendly. It's really clear whenever one of our staff members, volunteers, or member of the public go to visit, he leaps from wherever he is and wants to come visit. He's super, super cuddly. And of course, he's up for adoption and looking for his forever home.
And you said he's 2, so he's basically a baby.
Yep.
Actually, he's at that perfect age, right? He's outgrown all the craziness of kittenhood.
Exactly.
And he's still youthful, and he'd be so awesome to be an addition to anybody's home.
And here he's in a community room, so we know he gets along with other cats really well. So if you have a cat at home, I'm sure Bovis would make a great addition to your family.
Yeah, and he is so pretty. So if you're interested in Bovis or any of the other animals that you've seen today, please come down to the shelter here on Woodbine Avenue, meet the animals, adopt one, personally maybe 2. And I also need to say that this is our final episode for the season. I want to thank all of you out there for supporting these organizations, the Ontario SPCA, Dog Tales, all the wonderful people that are doing such great work to help these wonderful animals find forever homes. And I want to just personally thank you, Callie. It's been a pleasure working with you. Make sure you watch our website. Throughout the summer, we will be bringing you Adoption Quickie so you can stay in touch and learn about the animals that are available. And other than that, we will see you in the fall. Have a great summer, and thank you once again.